All right, let's dive into DIN.
Indian.
Yeah, DIN, like dinner.
Ah, I see what you did there.
The Decentralized Infrastructure Network. Get it? We're serving up some insights.
Very clever.
But seriously, this is important stuff. It's all about how we access blockchain data.
And right now, that's a problem. We're too reliant on centralized RPC providers.
Like Infura, right?
Exactly. They're essential, but they create a single point of failure.
So if Infura goes down, a big chunk of the blockchain world goes down with it.
Exactly. Remember that MetaMask outage in 2021?
Oh yeah, that was a mess. So basically, we're all kind of vulnerable right now.
In a way, yeah. These providers are like a restaurant with only one chef.
One chef.
If that chef gets sick, nobody eats. Same thing with blockchain data. If the provider goes down, you're locked out.
Okay, that makes sense. But hey, at least it's fast and cheap, right?
Well, that's the tricky part. It's this thing called the RPC trilemma.
The what?
The RPC trilemma. It's like trying to have it all.
Like having your cake and eating it too.
Kinda. Providers want to be fast, support lots of different protocols, and keep costs low.
Sounds impossible.
It's a tough balancing act. And often, something has to give. Either speed suffers, or they limit the blockchains they support.
Or they jack up the prices.
Right. So we're stuck with this trade-off. Centralized, but risky and limited.
Okay, so that's the bad news. What's the good news?
The good news is DIN flips the script.
How so?
Instead of one chef, we get a whole network of them. Independent providers all working together.
Ah, so more like a food court than a single restaurant.
Exactly. And that solves a lot of problems.
Like what?
Well, for starters, resilience. If one provider goes down, others can pick up the slack. No more single point of failure.
So it's more reliable, basically.
Way more reliable. Plus, you get competition. Providers have to compete for your business.
They will offer better service, lower prices, all that good stuff.
Exactly. It's like a free market for blockchain data.
Okay, I'm liking this already. So DIN makes things more reliable, more competitive, and probably more innovative too, right?
Absolutely. With more providers, you get more support for new protocols, more experimentation. It's a win-win.
This DIN thing is sounding better and better, but I gotta ask, how does it actually work? Like, who are these providers and how do we know they're doing a good job?
Good question. DIN has a clever system for that. It's called an AVS.
AVS.
Stands for Availability and Validity System. Basically, it's a way to guarantee that the data you're getting is accurate and reliable.
So it's like a quality control system for blockchain data.
Exactly. And it all comes down to incentives. Providers have to stake tokens as collateral.
So they have skin in the game, basically.
Right. And if they mess up, they risk losing their stake. Then there are these network watchers who are constantly monitoring things.
Watching their watchers, huh?
Yeah, something like that. They make sure providers are meeting their obligations, that the data is valid, all that.
Okay, so there's accountability built into the system.
Yeah.
But how do we know the watchers are doing their job?
Transparency. Everything's recorded on the blockchain, so it's all out in the open.
Ah, so no shady business going on behind the scenes.
Nope. It's all transparent and verifiable. So you get this decentralized network of providers all competing to offer the best service with this built-in system for ensuring quality and accountability.
Sounds pretty impressive. But let's be real. How does this actually roll out in practice? Are we all going to be using DINO tomorrow?
Not quite. DIN is taking a phased approach. It's a journey, not a sprint. Right now, they're in what they call the federated phase.
Federated phase.
Yeah, it's like a soft launch. They're working with a few big players like Infura and MetaMask to test things out, get the kinks worked out.
So like a beta test with the big guys?
Kinda, yeah. And then next year, they'll open things up more, bring in more providers, more Web3 gateways.
But gradually moving towards full decentralization.
Exactly. The goal is to have a fully permissionless system by 2026 where anyone can join the party.
All right, so we've got this phased rollout, starting with the big players, then opening up to everyone. Sounds like a solid plan.
It's a pragmatic approach. They're building something really ambitious here, and they want to make sure they do it right.
This DIN thing is blowing my mind a little bit. It's like a whole new way of thinking about blockchain infrastructure.
It is. It's about taking back control, putting power in the hands of the community, and building a more resilient, more innovative future for Web3.
And it all starts with a simple idea. Ditch the one chef and embrace the food court.
Exactly. More chefs, more competition, more delicious blockchain data for everyone. Yeah, it makes sense, right? Start small, test things out, then go big.
Totally.
Yeah.
But let's circle back to this AVS thing for a second.
AVS.
Yeah, the availability and validity system. We talked about how it works with the staking and the watchers.
Right, right.
But I'm curious about the bigger picture. Like, what does this mean for developers, for users?
It's huge. Honestly, it changes the whole game. Think about it. Right now, developers have to just trust the providers.
Trust them to what?
Trust that they'll keep the data available, that it's accurate, that they won't censor anything.
So it's a blind trust situation.
Pretty much. And if the provider messes up or decides to play games, you're
Yeah.
stuck.
Not good. So how does DIN fix that?
With DI, that trust is built into the system itself. It's not about trusting a company, it's about trusting the math, the cryptography.
So it's like a blockchain guarantee.
Exactly. So developers can build apps with way more confidence, knowing the data is solid.
And for users, it means a more trustworthy experience, right?
Absolutely. You know the data you're seeing is real, it hasn't been tampered with.
Okay, so AVS is a big deal. It brings trust and transparency to the whole system.
Exactly. And that's what Web3 is all about, right?
Totally. But let's talk money for a second. How do we actually pay for this stuff?
Good question. DIN is designed to be flexible. They want to support multiple payment options.
So you can pay with crypto or fiat.
Ideally, yeah. The Web3 gateways will handle that. They'll act as the interface between users and the network.
So they'll accept your dollars, convert them to whatever token DIN uses, and then you're good to go.
Something like that, yeah. It'll be seamless for the user.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about the providers themselves? What's their motivation to join DI? I mean, aside from making the world a better place, of course.
Of course. Well, DIN has a whole incentive system in place. It's all about rewards.
Rewards, huh?
Yeah, like performance-based rewards. Providers who consistently deliver good service, they get rewarded with tokens.
So the better they perform, the more they earn.
Exactly. And then there are bonuses for top performers, the ones with the fastest speeds, the best uptime.
So it's like a competition to be the best provider.
In a way, yeah. And on top of that, there's reputation. DIN tracks each provider's performance and makes that data public.
So it's like a rating system for providers.
Yep. And that matters. A good reputation means more users, more rewards.
Okay, so it's a win-win. Good providers get rewarded, and users get a better experience.
Exactly. It's a self-reinforcing system. But we can't forget about security, right? We've talked about staking and slashing, right? That's part of it.
But what else is there? How do we know this whole thing is safe?
Well, DIN uses cryptographic signatures to ensure data integrity.
Like a tamper-proof seal on the data.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
And everything's recorded on the blockchain, so it's auditable.
Okay, so there are multiple layers of security.
Absolutely. Security is a top priority for them. But let's address the elephant in the room.
Oh.
The fact that DIN is starting with these big centralized players.
Yeah, Infura and MetaMask. Kind of ironic, right?
I get the concern. But DIN is being pragmatic about this. They know full decentralization takes time.
So they're starting with what works and then gradually decentralizing.
Exactly. It's a transition. This federated phase is about building that foundation, proving the concept.
So it's like training wheels for decentralization.
In a way, yeah. But the end goal is clear, full decentralization. And it's the community that will ultimately govern DIN, ensuring it stays true to that goal.
Okay, so it's a journey, but they're heading in the right direction.
Definitely. It's about building something new, something better,